Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. We're so glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside. There behind the glass stands a real blade of grass. Be careful as you pass. Move along, move along. Come inside, the show's about to start. Guaranteed to blow your head apart. Rest assured, you'll get your money's worth. Greatest show, it happened out, and you gotta see the show. It's a dynamo, you gotta see the show. It's rock and roll, oh, right before your eyes. People laughter from the skies, and he laughs until he cries, and he dies.
it doesn't sound, if it sounds very, very glitchy, it's because my computer is struggling to squash video stream down the pipeline and to process the video and also to process these MIDI sounds. So, talking of multitasking, my computer is really multitasking, and I've got warning lights saying, oh my god, what are you doing to me? This is too much information, I cannot take it. But it's going to have to take it, quite frankly. It's a Mac, it claims to be able to take it. Why couldn't it take it? Just in case it can't, I am going to turn down the speed of it and see if that helps a little bit. Let's get this considerably slower. All right, no, it didn't help at all. Didn't help at all. Anyway, good to see you guys. I hope you can see me. I hope all is well out there in live streaming land. Your computer needs more gigawatts. Exactly. Were I singing into the microphone behind me? Yes. I literally 5 minutes before we went live, I was adding the finishing touches to a Patreon composition. So we're all good to go. Ooh, my CPU it's flashing warning. It's like, ooh, yeah. I've seen it worse. I'm at full speed tonight. Good. I'm glad. I've got my computer saying, "Oh my God, what are you doing to me?" My streaming software says apparently there was 118 dropped frames tonight. That's okay. And YouTube is telling me you've got a terrible signal. But if you can see me well, then that's fine. Exactly. As long as I don't smell smoke, I should be fine. And what an amazing system this is. As you can hear, I've been working on some sounds. How cool is that? I've been told also that new strings really help tracking. These strings have not been changed since my last show with Carl, which was March, I believe. Start of March, in fact. Yeah! It sounds amazing! Alright, let me show you a few more of the sounds that I've got. How do I get into this? Of course, I am going to have them all automated on a foot pedal. They're not automated yet. Yes, we want this one. We definitely want this one. For the start of the shreddy stuff. Ho down! Why didn't that switch? Because my MIDI switch isn't plugged in. Oh, that's because I was recording. Is that the right thing? Yeah. Oh my God. Yes, you are absolutely right that it is absolutely amazing. I'm amazed by it. And what is more amazing is when you realise how it works. I mean, in the past, what you had to do is buy quite an expensive pickup. We're talking at least $500 for the pickup alone. That's before you got any sounds or anything to plug it into, which would be big and bulky and stick on the back of your guitar. And then you would have the kind of the unit, and then you would have a wire going to another pickup that kind of you had to stick in your guitar. It makes a mess of your guitar, and you don't look quite so cool as you did without it. B, in the past, it's been difficult to go wireless. If you want to run around on stage, wireless MIDI, that's been a rarity. C, it means every single guitar you want to go MIDI with has to have a pickup. So you can't just take the pickup off and then mount it to another guitar. You need to spend a morning mounting it, adjusting it. This, I just plug in, it's just a regular cable, plug into the computer, away it goes. And it's all polyphonic as well. So all of that stuff. How cool is that? So before I was talking about why aren't you switching? Why aren't you switching? It's probably because I've only just plugged that in. I need to reboot the software for it to talk to my switch. So before I was talking about using the foot switch, the bass pedals, to do the top notes of but now what I can do is I can play the whole thing with Mellotron. Don't have to multitask either. Switch again. I will be able to switch with my foot, but it's not working for some reason. And then sing, and I can sit, and I can't sing and play even less. I love this idea. That sounds great. Yeah, well, I must say, without Patreon, without you guys, these tech, I wouldn't be taking the chance on these. So you guys have already funded this. You guys have already put me in a position where I can, I can afford to experiment and push and obviously, I mean, it's all about being able to take an afternoon to record a song for a personal composition. So, so joking aside, you guys are already funding this, so thank you so much. Show me the money. Yeah, well, at the moment, I don't have my guitar, obviously, is just going into my computer at the moment, and my computer is freaking out, saying, "What are you doing?" I keep there's a CPU meter up here on the MIDI program, and all of a sudden it just slams into the red and a big exclamation mark pops up as if to say, what are you doing? You're clearly doing something you shouldn't in another program. Stop it now. Yeah, there he goes again. But hey, clearly it doesn't know about live streaming. It doesn't know about the importance of live streaming. Listen, matey, if it wasn't for this live stream, you wouldn't be here. So stop your moaning. So yes, I was talking to Carl. I sent Carl a video of me playing around with a few sounds, with the hoedown sound. I didn't have the Moog sound yet. I didn't have the ba ba da ba da ba 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 da sound yet. But yeah, so I sent him a few sounds, and I said to him, you know, it's not just going to be this on its own. Picture this plus the sound from my guitar that I already have. Because what my idea for this is not just to, you know, to put this out as my guitar sound. You know, this is, I'll play hoedown like this. Because what is the point of getting a guitar player in to play keyboard sounds on guitar? If you're going to do that, you may as well just get a keyboard player. My idea behind all of this is to have this doubling up my guitar. So my guitar signal will be split in two. One signal will go to my laptop, and then that will go out front of house. And the other signal will go to all my effects pedals on my effects board, which will then go to my amplifier, and the two will be blended by the sound man in whatever way he sees fit. So that's the big idea. But it is incredible. It is such a revelation. It's such a huge advantage to be able to just take any guitar and plug in like that. I mean, if this takes off and if this becomes a real crucial part of what I'm doing, I'm certainly not going to ditch this software, but maybe I'll get a MIDI pickup as well. I won't look quite so cool. I know. I mean, I know we all. I'm sure the only reason you're here is because of how cool I look. So hopefully that won't detract from my appeal. That's like a tachometer. It's better when it's in the red. I think so. And that, the fact that you're commenting on that there is the fact. It shows how much in the red it is. It shows how much of a delay there is. But I've got from YouTube. I've got a nice green light. YouTube is green light. In fact, MIDI guitar is chilled out right now. It is not freaking out anymore. It is chilled out. Probably because I'm not playing any sounds on it. So yeah, so we're all good. We're all good here. That is the only reason. I know, it's this haircut, isn't it? It's my cool haircut. My cool sweaters. Look at that. Yes. In fact, I wore this, I think it might have been last Thursday. Me and Katie usually go to the bar, the local bar, just down the street after live streams. We do occasionally anyway. There was a lady, I don't know, was she too old to be a girl? I don't know. If I'm too old to be a boy, then she was too old to be a girl. But there was a female outside of the bar, and she was smoking, and she said to me, "Oh, I like your sweater." I was like, "Are you being sarcastic?" Because this is not. It's not the kind of sweater I would expect compliments on. In fact, this is a kind of doing work around the house, in the studio, on my hands and knees, and, you know, doing housework and things like that kind of sweater. Apparently, this girl outside, maybe the alcohol was particularly strong that night. Exactly. What was she smoking? Yeah, thanks, Kurt. You agree with me. It brings out the blue in your eyes. That's the only reason I got that microphone, you know. It just goes with my eyes. So yes, so I mentioned about how I'm going to get this working, but basically my computer is MIDI'd up to the max. I've got this little device here. Oh, it's plugged into my pedal board, so I can't show you. But it's basically a MIDI cable with a little box on it and a red light, and that turns MIDI data into a USB connection. So it means that it's like an adapter that means that my computer can talk to my pedal board, and it translates the messages my pedal board sends to my computer. So I will. It's MIDI control data basically. So I will send MIDI control data to my computer. This little box will convert it to a USB friendly signal, however that works, and it'll go in my computer and it'll be able to read it, and it'll say change to welcome back organ, or change to hoedown synth, or change to whatever. And it'll read those messages and it'll change on here. Now the one thing I'm having is the one issue I'm having with it. I'm going to close this down actually, just so I can try and show you the issue I'm having with it. So don't close down the live stream; that would be disastrous. So the one issue I'm having with it is that it is very slow to change patches. Now I don't know if that's because I'm doing a ton of other things at the same time, but it does seem quite slow to change patches. So it should be changing patches now. Yes, good, it is. All right. So if I go to, so we're on this organ sound. If I go to the Mellotron patch, you'll hear me pressed it, and it's loaded now. So it's not too bad, but it takes maybe a second. So it means maybe a couple of seconds, depending on what else is going on. So it means that I can't quick fire change between them. So I'm going to have to come up with a cunning plan to try and give it time to load up certain patches. I'm sure that's half of the fun of it though. I love those little workarounds. One little workaround I had before I had a pedal board, before I had a switching unit from my pedal board. Now, some of you will have seen the pictures of my pedal board. On my pedal board, I've got a big unit with about 8 buttons down the bottom, in the middle, and basically that's the only thing I have to touch unless I use like a physical rocking pedal, like a wah-wah pedal or a whammy pedal or something like that. So that's the only thing I need to touch. The rest of the pedals are always on, and they're basically put in or out of my loop. So they're in effect turned on or off, or they're affecting my sound or not by the big pedal buttons down the front. And it means that if I with my switching unit, if I wanted to if I have a nice clean sound with some chorus and reverb on, well, that means that my amplifier is on clean, it means that my chorus pedal is on, and it means that my reverb pedal is on. So that's 3 things. Now, if I want to immediately from that nice la 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 sound go into something really heavy and dirty and disgusting with some whammy pedal on it and complete contrast, what I used to have to do was switch all of the pedals off and on gradually. So I would have to maybe take the reverb off just before the change, and then make the change by hitting the amp channel switch, and then go to turn off the chorus, and then put on the whammy pedal. And so I've got like 5 button changes to get to this big sound, and then back again I've got the same 5 button switches. What the switching unit does is it automates it all. So one button will switch everything. One button will switch my amplifier. It will turn off certain effects. It will change settings on certain effects. And now it will talk to my MIDI interface. It will talk to my laptop and get that to switch as well. But I did find that I had to find workarounds to this, having to switch 5 at a time. So, for example, in Knife Edge, I go from a clean sound that's... We're not hearing that because I have programmed it so we don't have that sound. We don't have those notes on that sound. And it's basically, I've programmed these sounds so any notes that I don't use in the song are out of there. It means if I hit an open string accidentally, it doesn't come through. So I've got this nice... I've got like a clean with an octave and that sort of thing. And then I need to for the chorus. Then I need to turn off my octave and I need to turn on distortion. So that's 2 button presses. And so what I used to do is I used to put the distortion on a bar early. So I finished off with then turn the octave off. So what I had is an octave and distortion at that point. Now when I got my switching unit, I was like, oh, this is great. I can do the whole thing at once, so I can go into that and I don't have the octave on it anymore. Tried it, I was like, man, my workaround sounded so much better. So then I had to program another setting, so it was both the distorted octave and the and then after that just the clean distortion. Geeky story there for you, but it's those happy accident things. And I was talking about this earlier. Carl told me when we were in rehearsals for when we had arranged, me and Stuart Clayton arranged Pictures at an Exhibition, and Carl Pictures at Exhibition, I'm sure you're aware of it. ELP's version has got lots of weird, crazy, very cool noises, just like, the B3 being bashed around and the reverb springs being rattled around and weird from the Moog and all of this crazy stuff going on. And I was trying to replicate some of these noises on my guitar, and trying to get in there. And I got in there and I just started doing that in between songs. Or in between movements, and Carl just stopped and just said, no, Paul, you don't need to do that. We only ever did that because it would take 2 or 3 minutes for the keyboard tech to change patches on the Moog, because he had to come along with a load of patch cables and kind of repatch it however Keith needed it for the next setting. And then when he was ready, we could just stop these silly noises that we were doing to fill out the space. And then we could go into the next section. Who knew that these silly noises have become iconic in looking for all of these, these keyboard patches that are out there that to play with this bit of software. I found a load of them that are just emulating just crazy ELP type noises. Little do they know that had they done it again, they wouldn't have bothered with all of that cool stuff because it was just there to be functional. So there you go. I should read some of your comments. Your comments are flying by and I'm missing them all. One button to rule them all. Indeed. Absolutely. I don't know how you remember to do all those switches and play. Muscle memory helps, definitely. Practicing changing pedals is definitely definitely something you need to do. One thing is doing them in time with what you're playing as well. That really helps. So I always switch pedals on the beat really. But I do remember having to learn to kind of have that independence of feet and hands. In fact, David Pastorius, he said he doesn't own an effect pedal, and he said that's the thing that he's kind of, well, not concerned, but that's the thing that he's going to have to look at, because switching pedals is just something that he's not done before, and it definitely does require an extra thought process. Yeah. Kurt says, wild story, but funny thing is, that's probably how we're used to hearing it now. Exactly. It's so iconic and just really functional. I guess it's a little bit like, there's a few, I mean, it's not exactly like that because they plan to do it this way, but there's a few things on live recordings, like there's, is it on the Woodstock? It's either on the Woodstock or the Monterey Pop Festival or something like that, and Hendrix is getting he's picking up the like walkie-talkie two-way radio of the security, and it's coming through his amplifier in the song Machine Gun, and it is just perfect. You could not have orchestrated it any better. It's just genius. It's incredible. The way that the timing where it comes through, and obviously it's a happy accident, not exactly the same, but very often those happy accidents, they really do make a recording, or in an ELP's case, it really added something. I think it made that into a much more avant-garde piece than it would have been otherwise if they hadn't have had to have messed around with all these crazy sounds. So yeah, it definitely adds something for sure. Ah, okay, yeah, it must have been Woodstock then. Okay. Hey, there's a man that knows. I like it. The screw up in Louie Louie. It's the coolest part of the song. I don't know that. I'm not aware of that. Yeah, there's another thing. There's a Rolling Stones song. This one of the Rolling Stones songs, and the drums come in a really odd, awkward place, and apparently it was a complete mistake, but they loved it, so they kept it. And I can't remember what song it was, but yeah, it's one of those stories that I didn't mean to do that. And also the Money, Pink Floyd, Dave Gilmour wasn't comfortable in soloing in an odd time signature, so he said to them, "Can you just change it to 4/4?" So they had that section in the middle where he takes a guitar solo. They just put it in 4/4 so he could take a guitar solo over it because it felt comfortable for him. And it turned it into a blues, so he could put a guitar solo over it, and it just makes the song. It lifts it right out of it. It sounds fantastic. Oh, is that right? It's after the solo. The guy starts singing in Louie Louie and stops, and the drummer covers. Apparently it was a mistake. Ah, that's cool. That's cool. A Wink from the Universe. Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot. I think that's a song title right there. And the universe knows I have 200 of them to write. Well, slightly less now, but... Alright, well. So who's coming to a show? Who's coming to one of the ELP shows? I am not ELP shows. What's it called? Royal Affair shows. We were when we heard they were going to call it that. We were just all a little bit perplexed as to why are you calling it a Royal Affair. It's not like we're touring with Queen or Prince or the Kings of Leon or the Queens of the Stone Age. But yes, it is called that, and now it's out there. It kind of fits. So, leave it to the marketeers. They know best. Donnie's coming to a show. Can't wait, Donnie. Kim will be in Baltimore. Fantastic. I'm looking forward to Baltimore. Baltimore's quite close to you guys, right? Margaret and Jerry? Oh, it's so good. I'll be at Bethel, aka Woodstock. Very cool. Woodstock, I'm hoping that I'm going to get some security to the main gate, please. Over my guitar amplifier. That would be very, very cool. Although I probably wouldn't appreciate it at the time. When I listen back to it, it would be cool. Bum ba dum dum. I will go to Baltimore. Fantastic. You said that you're going to be away. That's right. Yeah. Well, I'm really looking forward to the tour. I was saying I spoke to my parents today, and I was just chatting with them, and I was saying it is a real shame that Simon isn't going to be there, because I get on with him so well, and we have such a great time together, and when we're not playing on stage, we're out geocaching or checking out the local sites or whatever, and it is so good to be on tour with Simon. But the fact that he's not here, and the fact that David is not really an effects guy, has meant that I've looked into all of this stuff. Had it not been for him not being on this tour, I'm not so sure I would have gone down this road of trying to replicate these keyboard sounds, because that's a lot of the stuff that he does, or he started to do at least, on the Chapman Stick. So, every cloud has a silver lining, as they say. Watch out for ticks. Oh my god. We've all heard the tick stories, right? The tickstickle stories. Yes. The less of that that's mentioned, the better, I think. Going back to this unit, the only one drawback that I've found on it. Now, you know how I love my extra frets, right? Love my extra frets. Love them so much I got my guitar butchered to put an extra one in there. Now, this guitar doesn't have extra frets. It does have a 24th fret. But this piece of software does not recognise a 24th fret. I believe it stops at the 22nd fret. Occasionally I can tease a 23rd out of it. That's not in there. How strange! So I don't know how I'm going to get around a few things. I think maybe it'll be enough just to have those notes covered by the guitar. So, where is that? I don't know where that synth sound is. What would this give me? Toccata. Ooh, this is a good sound. Let me show you this first. You ready? Imagine I had an octave pedal. that. So there you go. Yes, how cool is that? That is really cool. But there is a few moments. I don't have the sounds here. Let me get the sounds because they are so flipping cool. Carnival Synth. Carnival Synth 2. Yes. Even more Carnival than Synth 1. Here we go. So cool. You hear the stereo delay? Alright, so this finishes with a run here that goes... Starts off with those two notes. I can't play those two notes because those two notes are not in this software. I need to speak to them and say, look, just give me those two notes, please. Then it kicks in there. Yeah, it's just so good, isn't it? There you go. Any video games sound, you need a raise. So that's my cunning plan, Rolf. That's my cunning plan. I need to make myself indisposable. Look, I'm a keyboard player and a guitar player. Yes, absolutely, I agree. We should speak to Carl. Petition. I'll send a petition round. Dear Carl, dear Mr. Palmer. Any video game type any video game type sounds. Do you know, Jerry? There are so many sounds on this because basically it will play. You get a few sounds. I mean, you probably get maybe 50 sounds with it, but with the keyboard, can you see the keyboard? You know my keyboard it's over there. I don't know if you can see it. Oh yeah, that keyboard there behind the light, behind the umbrella light. That's the keyboard I used in the name song, and that came with about half a dozen what they called VST plugins. I should know what that means, but I don't. A VST is basically a software instrument that you can use in multiple packages. So I use Logic for recording, so I can import it into Logic. This MIDI Guitar 2 reads and is compatible with any VST. And I have maybe, maybe about 10 VST instruments on my computer. Some of them are free, some of them I just got free with like the keyboard or something else. You know, this comes with a few VST instruments. You can download them for free off the internet as well. So at least thousands of sounds I have on here, maybe even tens of thousands of sounds. I have so many sounds, it is just mind-boggling. I spent probably an hour, and I knew the sort of thing that I was looking for, but I probably spent an hour looking for the best sound that would... I was looking for the best sound for that line, and I trawled through. I knew that the sort of thing I needed was I think they call that saw or square lead. So I knew that I was looking for one of those, which is to do with the waveform. If the waveform's zigzaggy, saw. If it's square, it's like that. Pardon me. So I knew the sort of thing that I was looking for, but I had so many options that it took me an hour just to go through them all. Virtual sound technology. It could be. Is it? Was that a question mark? Because that sounds good. I don't know. Square waves. Okay. We're dealing with squares here. But yeah, there are so many sounds. There are so many sounds. I mean, I could show you a few, just go through a few, but there are just ridiculous amounts. Yeah, kind of things that you would never use. One thing that I found with these 200 songs is I can just go through this bank and basically for almost every sound, it inspires you to play something. It inspires you to, if you're kind of noodling around, it inspires you to play something new, and before you know it, you've got a new composition, you've got a new piece of music. So this is going to be invaluable for writing. The downside, of course, is that we might end up with 200 compositions that consist of just silly synth noises. There's a very real danger. But I would have had a lot of fun in doing it. I think you found the best sound. Lots of choices. Yes, absolutely. Is it a cue? What's that? I don't understand the question. My O key is not working very well. Oh, I see. Absolutely. I do need Jerry to design me a guitar or a keytar. That would be amazing. There you go. That's someone's composition right there. Yeah, and I was saying about how well this thing tracked. I couldn't believe it. Amazing. The reason it's not playing down there is because in Welcome Back, that is the lowest note I need. So if I play that note, nothing happens, and anything below that note, nothing happens. And the reason I've set it up for that is if, let's say, I'm on a song where I can play anything. Let's say I'm playing something up here, and I accidentally hit that note down the bottom. It's going to come out very strong, stronger than if I hit it, if I'm just with a regular guitar sound. So what I've done is I've muted any notes below the range and above the range that I'm not going to be using, so I don't actually accidentally hit those notes and trigger it. So it's quite a cool feature that you can do. That's probably not why it's there, because that's in these synths. The reason it's there is if you want a keyboard where you have, say, the top half is strings and the bottom half is piano, and it means you can play the two instruments at once. So that's why it's there. But it's kind of a different way of doing it. It just stops the lower notes from coming out. Oh, my VST definition was a cue. All right. I thought you knew it. My next show is a musical. Wished you lived near here. That'd be great. I'd hire you in a heartbeat for sound effects. Oh, I have tons of sound effects on here. Let me have a look. See what sound effects I do have on here. Ooh. and this is just one of the VST things that I've pulled up. Sound effects. Are there sound effects on this one? Oh, come on. Please be sound effects on this one. There's vocals on this one. No, I don't see any sound effects on this one. But there are definitely a lot of comedy sound effects. Basics. Nope. We don't want basics. There's drums. No, there's no sound effects on that one. Let's see if there's sound effects on another one. I wanna find some sound effects. All right, maybe there's some sound effects in this one. Let's try another one. Is that what I just looked at? Yes, it is. All right, it'll be worth the wait. It'll be worth the wait. Honestly, it will. It won't just be like me playing with a Casio keyboard. Might be just like me playing with a Casio keyboard. But SFX. That's what we want. SFX. Right. This is called 500. Oh. And all of these notes do different things. Yeah, come on. This one's called Black Sun. Yeah, love it. I was saying earlier, I have no idea how keyboard players get anything done in their lives. If you've got all of this stuff, all of these sounds to play with, I have, and I've spent 3 days playing with them. I don't know how keyboard players can even function. I don't even know, how they manage to go to bed at night. I think pretty much keyboards with this many sounds and systems with this many sounds, they should come equipped with a pillow just for when you collapse out of exhaustion because you can't possibly tear yourself away from it because you're having so much fun. That is definitely what keyboards are missing because how does anybody do anything other than I have no idea. Mushroom tea. A new techno tour planned. Oh yes, come on, bring it on. There's some pretty cheesy techno sounds on this. There are some pretty cheesy techno sounds on this one, and you better believe I've been playing them. Have we got any bass in here? Basses. Yes. Acid bass. That's gotta be for. What's that sound like? Oh, it doesn't disappoint, does it? Absolutely. It's going to be Paul and Dave's Techno Tour. You heard it first. Forget the Excellent Adventure. The Techno Tour. Let me close down this. I can't see any of your comments now because I was playing with the synth. So when Simon gets back, will you continue with your awesome effects? Absolutely, for sure. Yeah, because a lot of the things I'm doing is to double up on what I'm already playing. So like the Hoedown thing, I'm gonna get a Hammond organ playing the along with me, and I'm gonna get for the start of Hoedown. I'll definitely want to keep that in there. So absolutely, I will be for sure keeping these. And also for the solo stuff, I've looked at a few things. I think I shared something in a video where I could imagine my guitar coming through the amplifier, but there was kind of a bells effect going on. Oh dear, that was me kicking my cable. Don't kick cables, kids. No, it's not that. Bells. It's this one. So I can imagine, the Clair de Lune melody or something under here. This would be coming out of the computer. The melody would be coming out of my guitar amp. And you just can't get effects like that. You can't get effects. I mean, you can get a little bit like that from like my Eventide harmonizer, but not really. So good, so good. Somebody was saying that I should trigger Carl's drum sounds in Toccata. Could do that. Would Carl use any sound effects through his drums? Possibly. I don't know. I mean, now the technology exists is a lot better. Obviously, in fact, back in the 70s, when Carl did synth drums, there was no such thing. He made his own synth drum kit. He basically put microphones, I believe, on the kit that would just would cause a sound to be triggered, and he did it for the very first time. It was something to do with a mitigator or something like that, and he did it for the very first time. So whether he'd go back to that, I don't know. I don't know. Interesting question. I mean, there's no reason why he shouldn't, and there's no reason why that couldn't be triggered at the desk, actually, because we've got a different input for each drum, so there's no reason why they couldn't trigger that from the front of the house if they had technology like this. Whether they will or not, I don't know, but yeah, that's definitely a possibility. Definitely a possibility. Like my Music Box Christmas album from my childhood. Could Simon use it on the Chapman stick? Well, Simon does actually already have a MIDI pickup on the Chapman stick. Now, a MIDI pickup, as I say, to stick one on a guitar, it's cumbersome. The Chapman stick, many of the Chapman sticks, well, it comes as an added, as an optional addition on a Chapman stick, so you can get it in there. And so he has a MIDI pickup on his. And so he uses that MIDI pickup, and he does trigger sounds using that. Where he's limited with his sounds is the fact that he is triggering the sounds from a pedal. So he's got a Roland pedal, a Roland MIDI pedal, and so he's limited to the sounds on there. He can't just go and download more sounds for that. It's whatever comes with it. And they sound great. It does sound great. But things like that, I don't know how much synth stuff is on there. I don't know how much silly noises are on there. Or certainly you couldn't just do a search of the internet and say, I need a great sounding Hammond to download onto my pedal. That's definitely a software thing. So software is very versatile. It does have the downside of not being quite as stable, obviously, as hardware. With Simon, he's got a box, he turns it on, it works every time. With my computer, things might happen. Like today, it's struggling for processing because we're doing the live stream at the same time. So, things like that happen. But overall, maybe it's not quite as stable, but it's definitely gives you an additional element. So yeah, maybe Simon could be convinced into introducing the laptop. He's already got the MIDI pickup. So the cool thing about a MIDI pickup is it senses which strings you're playing. So for things like, what you could do, for example, obviously this software is just taking a feed from my guitar, and it's just analysing the data coming in from my guitar, and it's converting it into whatever MIDI sound I want. But on a Chapman stick or with a MIDI pickup, because it's taking what's going on each string separately, what you can do is you can have a different instrument on each string. So you might want to say, for something like Clair de Lune, the fact that I've got a melody up here, and I've got I've got that going down on the bottom 3 strings. You might want to say that the top 3 strings I'm going to assign to play this instrument sound, and the bottom 3 strings I'm going to assign to play this instrument sound. You can't do that with this, obviously. That is one of the drawbacks with it. But still, I mean, if I did want to do that, and maybe I will want to do that in future, then I am so excited about this MIDI world that I would definitely consider getting a pickup that I can put onto a guitar. An atonal lullaby, oh God. Thankfully that child never heard that. The father did. Mike, in fact Donnie, Mike's friend, is listening. Mike heard the atonal lullaby, and I don't think he ever trusted me with his daughter after that. So yeah, that wasn't a great move. It'll send you to sleep, but in 20 years' time she'll wake up a psychopath. Do not get me to write a lullaby for your child, please. It's the best for everyone. Tarkus Fitzpatrick. I was wondering what you couldn't take the credit for. This is a lullaby. It's probably what you would. Oh, there you go. It's now atonal. But it still sounds nice. Not like, I want to kill somebody. Yeah. Future Serial Killers of America Club. Absolutely, that's exactly what that was. For those of you who weren't around, the atonal lullaby was for Mike, who basically built the entire studio for me. And the atonal lullaby was, we were talking in one of our building sessions. We had some long talks about strange things, and one of the things we were talking about was perfect pitch. And perfect pitch is the ability to recognize any note instantly. So I'd be able to play that and know that it was a F sharp or whatever. So there's a theory that all babies are born with the ability to have perfect pitch, but we lose it when we get conditioned through listening to tonal music. So tonal music is music that stays in one key. And for example, nursery rhymes are very, very, very tonal. They don't stray from the key whatsoever. Very diatonic. They stay firmly in one key. And lullabies and things like that. They're all very tonal. So I said, what if I write an atonal lullaby for your daughter Zoe, and see if she can develop, or see if it helps her develop perfect pitch later on. So I wrote this thing, and it just sounded like the soundtrack to Saw. I was going to say Psycho, but no, like something much darker. Saw, or Human Centipede, or one of those films. If you've been unfortunate enough to have seen them, you will know the type of thing. It just sounded, oh my God, it just sounded so disturbing. The killer's always named Zoe. So yeah, it wasn't a good move. There you go. That was my Atonal Lullaby story. Anyway, guys, we have gone way over. I just got a phone call from my wife. I don't know what that was about, so I should get back to her. So we should finish off. But this was a pleasure. It's always a pleasure. Thanks so much for joining me, guys. You guys are great. Thank you very much. Jerry, thanks for joining me. Human centipede. Whoa. Terry, have we heard that? I did do a. I think I put it. Yeah, I think I put it out there somewhere. Maybe I showed it at a live stream or something like that. In fact, Jerry did a mock-up of it. Jerry set it to another live stream that me and Simon did in Las Vegas. So yeah, it has, but it was on a live stream. I don't think I ever actually put it on the page. Guys, lovely to see you. Thanks, Jerry, Margaret, Kim. Thank you very much, Rolf. Great to see you. Supper is indeed ready. Good to see you, Kurt. Shirley. I know Donnie was here. And anybody else who I may have forgotten, I apologise. But thank you so much, Kim. Thank you so much for joining me. Terry, thanks for joining me. And, Marie, hey. Good to see you. Good night. Thank you very much. And it's not exactly welcome back, my friends, because I'm leaving you. But rather than finishing off with some Chopin, let's finish off with some ELP. Good night, guys. See you soon. Bye.
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. We're so glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside. There behind the glass stands a real blade of grass. Be careful as you pass. Move along, move along. Come inside, the show's about to start. Guaranteed to blow your head apart. Rest assured you'll get your money's worth. With this show, it happened all right. You gotta see the show. It's a dynamo. You gotta see the show. It's rock and roll. Oh, right before your eyes, people laughed up from the skies, and he laughs until he cries, and he dies, and he dies. scene, what a scene.